From Studio DRC at the Daytona Regional Chamber of Commerce, this is the Crest of the Wave. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Crest of the Wave, the Daytona Regional Chamber's podcast for the business community. My name's Ken Phelps. I'm the Vice President of Resource Development here at the Daytona Regional Chamber, and glad to welcome you to part two. It's our first two-part episode of Crest of the Wave, where we are carrying over a topic, and we're talking about Readers to Leaders. And I'm pleased to be joined today by a couple of our partners in this initiative here at the Daytona Regional Chamber, Kristy Castellanos from Volusia County Schools and Allison Miller from the Early Learning Coalition. Thanks to you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So in the first episode, if you watched that with Devin Miller and Michelle Goldies, we talked about the inception of Readers to Leaders. And so we gave them kind of a background on the program, that it's a Leadership Daytona initiative. Now it's evolved into a partnership with the Chamber, the Leadership Daytona Alumni Council, and your two organizations. So let's give everybody a little bit of background on you and what you do. So, Kristy, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about your role at Volusia County Schools.
Yes. So I am the Executive Director of Elementary at the Volusia County Schools, an A-rated school district. Let me say that.
Congratulations. That's recent news. So
yes,
congratulations.
That is recent news, and we're very proud of that. Definitely takes the support of everyone to be an A-rated district. So we appreciate everybody's involvement in that. But I oversee 45 elementary schools. So I work with 45 amazing principals in Volusia County.
Very good. And Allison, talk about your role at the Early Learning Coalition of Flagler, Volusia.
Sure. I am the Chief Program Officer at the Early Learning Coalition, and my role there is to oversee all the programmatic functions of the Early Learning Coalition. So that's any of our Family Services Department, our community engagement, and our quality impact, which works with our child care programs and teachers to help improve the quality in the services they're providing to our kiddos.
So I know in the development of Readers to Leaders, one of the things that I was very happy about, and I'm sure you are as well, as the Leadership Class 43 was putting together their response to this challenge of how do we raise business community awareness of third grade reading scores. One of the things that they quickly realized was we don't need another program. Yeah. And I know we breathed a sigh of relief here at the Chamber. I'm sure that both of you did as well.
Right about that.
But can you each share your thoughts briefly? And Kristy, let's start with you on what it means to have community leaders like that come to the aid and support of the work that you're doing over and above the stuff that all of your staff and all the stuff that you get paid to do, to have a community group come together and say, hey, we want to really support and contribute that. What did that mean to you and your team?
Yeah, so when we first started working on Readers to Leaders and I heard that, I was like, this is amazing. We're really pulling in people together, right? Community leaders to come together to help support the schools. We have teachers in classrooms who are doing amazing jobs, right? I mean, they're working hard. They're working with students every day, and they're teaching students everything that they need to know. But they need help sometimes, and having somebody come into the class to help read to the students, or having a fund out there, or somebody who wants to give something to the schools to help incentivize reading. I mean, it's just a benefit and it's a plus. We can get so much done within our schools. But it's more than that. Real schools operate just not from those teachers who are in the classroom every day and the leaders who are at the schools, but it's a community effort too, right? Everybody's involved because these are our children. These are our children who we need to make sure that they have every opportunity that they can have so that they can be successful in the classroom. And that just comes so much more than just having the teacher in the classroom who's doing that grind every day. It takes a whole community effort to make that happen.
Yeah, and I think when you can pull the community together, Allison, you've seen that Early Learning Coalition is such a great partner in the community. What was the reaction like amongst your team when they started hearing about this program and you're trying to bring in funding and volunteers and all that kind of stuff? How did it make you guys feel over at ELC?
I mean, we were ecstatic. We've been involved with the Chamber and the business community for a really long time, and then to have this program, per se, come to light and really just show this want for partnership between the business community and not-for-profits or education institutions was just it was just wonderful to see that all come together. And I love the fact that these children are going to be the future workforce. So who better to be engaged and to be supporting the children and their education but the business community. And as far as volunteers goes, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but we have had over 600 volunteers since this was announced in December just for literacy. Not all volunteers. That's just 600 hours. I apologize. 600 hours of volunteering for literacy efforts since this launched. And that was 3 times the amount we had in all of 2024. So
Wow.
it's been a wonderful ride so far, and we're excited to do more.
Well, I'm glad to hear about that success, and you might have jumped ahead, but feel free to say that again later because I think that's really powerful. So in the last episode, one of the things we talked about, a little bit of background on the program, was Readers to Leaders is not another program. It really is. It's an initiative designed to foster support to the existing programs that are happening. So for those of you that are watching or listening, it essentially is a document. We house it on the Daytona Chamber's website, daytonachamber.com. You can find it there. It really is about guiding volunteers or community philanthropists or anyone interested in supporting the youth in our community of how can they give back. And one of the things I really liked about the document is it helps meet people where and how they want to give. Some people don't have the financial wherewithal to write a really big check, but they might have paid time to be able to go in and volunteer. So to be able to do that. So the brochure breaks down time, talent, and treasure, and each program has those icons. So some might have one of those 3, some might need 2, some might need all 3 of those kinds of support. But it really breaks down by the Early Learning Coalition and then by Volusia County Schools what the programs are that need the support from our community. So let's talk about those programs a little bit. So Allison, let's start with you. We'll go chronologically through the child's life. At the Early Learning Coalition, tell us a little bit about some of the programs that Readers to Leaders can help generate support for, whether it's funding or volunteerism or both.
Okay, absolutely. So I can give you a couple examples. So probably what most people know that we're doing for literacy is we are a partner with the Dollywood Foundation, and we have a Dolly Parton Imagination Library program here in Volusia County. We love partnering with their foundation. We get the books at a great rate, and we are able to distribute them very quickly in the community to over 5,000 children every single month. But that does come with a cost. And so that is one of the initiatives that we absolutely do need help funding. It's about $40 a year per child to get a book every single month in the mail. And they can sign up for that program when they're born, and they can have it all the way till they turn 5 years old. And so that's definitely one that we would need financial support. There is some volunteering opportunity also with that. We do have a committee that helps to run the program and fundraise for the program and keep it going. So that is another option also for that. We have our Babies Rock program, which is where we have volunteers interacting in infant classrooms. So they are working with babies. So they get to go into the classroom, they get to read to the babies, sing to the babies, rock the babies, literally. And that gives the babies more interaction with humans and adults and that loving touch that they need all day long. And it helps support the teachers in the classroom also. And with that program, we do support those infant teachers with training and materials and that sort of thing. And that's completely volunteering. We don't, we fund that program through our programmatic funds, but we do need volunteers for that. And it's just once a week for an hour, or if you want to do more, you can do more. And then we have classroom reading opportunities different times throughout the year where people can go into the mostly 3-year-old and 4-year-old classrooms, and they can do story time with the kids. But there's a lot of other things besides that. But those are some of the main ways that people can get involved.
I've volunteered for junior achievement once in a kindergarten classroom. Let me tell you, those young kids, they'll give you a run for your money if you're not paying attention.
But they're so fun too.
They are fun, absolutely. The personalities at that age, they're really starting to emerge, and it's interesting to have a classroom full of them, and it gives you a whole new respect for the work teachers are doing on a daily basis, managing all those personalities. Kristy, let's talk about Volusia County Schools. So obviously the work the Early Learning Coalition is doing is helping prepare those students so that by the time they get to kindergarten, they're better prepared to enter school. They're doing better, right out of the gate. I think a lot of people have the misconception that, oh, well, if a student's not able to go into an early learning center or their parents aren't reading to them, well, when they get to kindergarten, they'll catch up. And that's just not the case. It's counterintuitive. They're going to progress, but their classmates and counterparts are going to progress even faster. So tell us a little bit about some of the programs that are taking place in Volusia County Schools and how volunteers might, whether contribute funds or volunteer there, how can they support what you're doing?
Yeah, no, and I think it's really great that we do know that Readers to Leaders is not a program, right? It supports the schools and what they're doing. It supports the Early Learning Coalition and some of the initiatives that they have. And so because once you get into school, we have programs in school, right? We have programs that can help students learn to read. We have, the resources that the teachers need to teach the students, right? But it goes beyond that. We have to get students to have a love for reading. We need to get them to understand that reading is everything, right? I mean, and it's a short amount of time. As you said, they enter kindergarten. We already have benchmarks that students need to know. There's already things that have been taught in the early learning if they have gone to VPK, but if they haven't, it's almost like a little bit of a catch-up that we have to do to get them where they need to be by the end of that kindergarten year. So it's really instilling that love for reading and just finding time for those students to read. So we do a couple different programs, and these are in the brochure. So Battle of the Books. This is fun because it's where students get to a book that they want to read, right? Something that they're interested in. And then they go and they have some competition, with that book. So that makes students want to read. It's not so much of that, this is what we have to do during our reading class, right? Or during our ELA or language arts class. This is something fun and exciting and something a little bit different. And it's a competition. So for that, we definitely always need volunteers to help with that. It's a big event. And having more people to come in and help with that competition and help, judge, that's always something that we can use. Another big challenge is the Superintendent's Reading Challenge. And this is a lot of fun, and we do this 3 times a year. So whenever the students are on break, we have a reading challenge for them. And it's that, Dr. Balgobin's Superintendent Reading Challenge, which is, we get so many students involved. And again, with this, those are the students reading on their own, right? But it still could be where we have volunteers come in the classroom. They could be sitting with a student reading a book that they want to read on their own with that volunteer. And then they can log those hours that way. But what helps students want to read? Well, when they get gifts and when there's some sort of treasure that they get. So really finding those partnerships to help provide us with some of those treasures that the students want. The more exciting that the gift is, the more that they want to read, right? That treasure. It's like, oh yes, I want this, because it's a competition. We all work for competitions, right? We all want to be the best, but it's nice when you have that incentive that they're reading for. So this past year, we had 68 schools working in the superintendent's reading, or represented in the reading challenge. 346 students read 400 to 499 minutes, and 1,207 students read over 600 minutes. Wow. So just think about that. I mean, we're just really instilling that love for reading. We're trying to get the students to see there is, they sometimes get frustrated of, we have to read so much in school, but there's also that stuff that you can read for fun, and that you should get incentivized for that also. So it's exciting, but yes, all of those opportunities are volunteer opportunities that we can use, and then of course those treasure, so we can incentivize those students.
For anyone who is interested in maybe contributing some prizes to go along with that, can you give some examples of like the types of prizes that should be donated? Because it'd be nice to have a new car. Yeah. I'm sure no students are getting a new car because of their reading, but what are some of the types of prizes that if somebody said, hey, I'd like to contribute a prize or some prizes, what would be helpful?
Yeah, so Daytona Lagoon, they have contributed arcade gift cards. So they have also contributed tickets that the students get in for free. So sometimes it's, could be an arcade. Students love to play games. So it's something like that is something great for students to do and work towards. Also, ice cream. Just if you go to Jeremiah's, you get, a free Jeremiah cone or, something like that. So honestly, anything. The students will really work for any type of incentive. And it's especially when they get to go play or they get, some sort of food that's involved. That's always fun. And it's exciting for the parents too, because then that also makes a time for them to go together to that location and spend time with each other. So it's benefits all the way around.
So it's not a huge dollar amount. No. If you want to give a contribution. If you have $50 and you want to send 10 kids to Jeremiah's because they read that, we can do that. Okay, very good.
Yes.
So we've talked a little bit about the programs. I think one of the reasons we do an initiative like this, at least here at the Daytona Regional Chamber, is because of the impact that it has. So I'd like to spend a few minutes talking to each of you about what you've seen, and if we've got data, great. But I think stories are always powerful. So if you got some good anecdotes about students who are like they just lit up because they achieved something reading, would love to hear those stories. So Kristy, let's start with you at the school district. What are some of the impacts that you've seen across? And and obviously it's elementary school, so we're talking K1, 2, 3 area. Tell us a little bit about the work that this initiative has done in the short time it's been around.
Yeah, I think it's important to say that there's nothing that needs to be done, per se, with a student taking a book and a student reading a book and just logging those minutes, right? So there's nothing extra that they need to do. So the impact that has on a student, right? I can do something that I want to do. I can take the book and I can read it and I can log the minutes. And they're doing that to benefit, they get something for it, right? They get some sort of treasure. But just the excitement of it doesn't take a parent driving them somewhere. It doesn't take, anything that has to be taken over by a parent. This is really, a student can do this on their own. So it's not eliminating anybody, right? It's allowing all students to have this opportunity to work towards something that they might see as a great incentive for them. So, we've seen students who just get so excited. They come to the board meeting, the students who have logged a lot of the minutes, and just their faces of getting this award, and just being there and getting recognized for that extra work that they're doing, right? And it's just, they're reading for fun. They're reading things that they want to read. So it's just exciting to see the students just get excited about reading. And that's what we want to do, is just continue to instill that love for reading.
Just sometimes praise even just goes a long way. And I you mentioned being an A-rated district now, and that doesn't happen without work at all levels, and it kind of transitions into the work that Early Learning Coalition's doing, because if it's all catch up out of the gate at kindergarten, that's a tough road to hoe, the ability to get those students reading where they need to on grade level. Allison, talk about some of the impacts you've seen. You mentioned the increase in volunteer hours, but what are some of the other stories that you might be able to share on this is the positive impact Readers to Leaders has had, maybe not only within the coalition, but maybe on some of the early learning centers in your group?
Yes, absolutely. So with the help of more volunteers, like our Babies Rock program, we've been able to expand it. So then we're able to go to more early learning centers with the program and offer that to more infant teachers and more infant classrooms, which has been fantastic. We were able to also do some work with the Daytona Beach summer camps for those kids that are in like the kindergarten through third grade age. And we had some backpacks. Volunteers helped put those all together with literacy materials. And then we're able to go out to those summer camps once a week and do some programming with the items in the backpack. And we bring our learning mobile out there. It's our RV. That's like it's a mobile classroom. And the kids are so excited to go on there and just get this opportunity to do things that they are not usually experiencing at home. So those have been some great impacts. And again, the volunteers, it's just, even if you're helping put together a literacy kit, you're still helping with literacy and early literacy. So that's been really exciting. And then, yes, the 600 volunteer hours is like, I pulled it up this morning and I was like, what? And I was like, I got to see what we did in 2024. And then I was like, wow, like literally 3 times the amount in 7 months. I was honestly blown away myself. And it's been a mixture of those volunteers like helping get the literacy materials together, but then also the people going into the classroom, people reading our Josh the Otter, not our Josh the Otter book, but the Josh the Otter book that we've been doing programming through the child care programs, the YMCAs, and also the libraries, and then people wearing the Josh the Otter costume. I mean, it's like, and people get to do it and they have so much fun, and they're like, oh, I can be an otter and just let out my inner child where people don't even know I'm inside here, It's like, and you wouldn't believe some of the people in the costume that are in our community. I won't give away any names, but some of them are pretty well-known people that you would not imagine wearing a Josh the Otter costume, and they have a blast doing it. So it's fulfilling, I think, for the children. It's fulfilling for our staff to know that other people in our community care about early learning and care about literacy. And then it's fulfilling for the children. So I think all around, it's good for everybody.
I think it's one of the things that we know here at the Chamber is we live in a fantastic community, and there's people willing to give and willing to volunteer and support, especially kids. I mean, you can't not want to support the children in our community, but I think it really just shows that they just need to be funneled and directed. And okay, where do I go? How do I do that? And that's something I think is really important about the way this initiative was formulated, and trying to make it easy as well. That's the other thing. Some people might have interest in volunteering, but if you're going to make them go through 10 to 15 steps to be able to just volunteer an hour of their time, they're not going to go through all that that process. but to be able to put a QR code on the very last page of the brochure that goes right to the school districts or the Early Learning Coalition's volunteer vetting form. And that's the other thing. We know serious security is unfortunately a serious subject around when you're working around kids. You're going to go through some background, but you try and make that as easy as possible. It goes right to the page. You fill out the information. The two organizations get it, and you're able to volunteer. So we've got just a couple of minutes left. I want to ask you each about, and Allison, we'll start with you. What are some of the ongoing needs? We've talked about some of the things that have already come to each organization, but if there's one or two things that you could make an ask for of, hey, we really could use more of, or really could use this, what would that be?
We definitely need more of those Babies Rock volunteers, which is the ones going into the infant classroom, because that is an ongoing commitment, right? We want you to come once a week for an hour. So that is sometimes a special person that has that availability. I know some people think it might sound scary, but we do training. We teach you how to interact with babies in an appropriate way. So it's really not scary. We make it easy, and we do a little training for those volunteers. And then also the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and the funding. With over 5,000 kids enrolled in Volusia County, that is an ongoing effort that we have to do to continue to fund that program, because Dollywood Foundation does give us the books at a fantastic price, but we do, as a community, have to financially support that program. So those would probably be the two biggest needs at the moment.
And the $40 doesn't have to come from the family enrolling. That can be a community
Correct.
member who wants to sponsor. If they want to spend $80, that's sending 2 children books
for the whole year, every single month, yes. And the families do not have to pay to be in the program. It is free to the families. And so, yes, we would like community organizations, individuals to sponsor that. And yes, it could be as much as do a $20 donation or $20,000 donation. Any amount helps. So
very good. All right. And one thing I know about the Dolly Parton Imagination Library program is the books come to the mail in the name of the child.
Yes.
Which, when you're 3, 4, 5 years old and you get mail, that's a pretty cool
You're
thing.
pretty high on life in that moment.
Yeah,
yes.
You're really enjoying that. Kristy, let's talk a little bit about the needs at the school district. If somebody wants to give and support in some way, what are the best ways for them to engage?
Yeah, I definitely think time is one of the most important. Coming into the classroom, doing the volunteer hours, going in and reading with students. It's just, there's something about having an adult sitting next to a child and the child's reading to them, right? It kind of breaks down some barriers for the children. They're not reading in front of their peers. They're not feeling pressured about that. They're reading in front of somebody who really is there to listen to them, right? And just sit there and form that relationship with them and build them up and tell them that you're doing great. You're doing wonderful, right? We're not all perfect readers, but at least I have somebody there to support me. It's very special for a child when somebody comes into a classroom and they're there for that child and that they feel like, oh, I got somebody to listen to me, right? I have somebody who really wants to hear me read. So that's important. Then the treasure piece. That's we can't continue these challenges if we don't have those incentives for the students, right? I mean, we'll continue them, but children get involved when there's something that they want to work towards. So I definitely think if anybody wants to give, I mean, you can give financially also, that's fine. We'll go and we'll buy some sort of incentives for the children. So it's not like a business has to come up with that on their own. We can find incentives out there too. But it's important that we have that the students just have that little extra to work for as they're reading.
Yeah. Well, I know one of the things that, here at the Daytona Regional Chamber, anytime we do a program, we always want to know about results. So I want to give you just a moment to share some numbers. And when you think, okay, you're spending all this time doing this, is it really having an impact? I know you've got some data on English language arts and some of the trend we've seen here locally. So share a little bit about that.
Yes, I do. And as you said, we are very excited to be in a district, and it just doesn't happen by chance, right? This is really a community coming together to support our students who are in the school and working together. So our third grade reading scores have gone up. We're at 57%. That's a 3% increase from last year. I mean, that we just continue to go in this positive direction, and that's just amazing when you look at the work that's being done there. Also, our overall English language arts, and that's from third grade all the way up until 10th grade, that has increased from 51% to 55%. And even our learning gains and our lowest quartile, those have also increased too. So we're doing the right work. And like I continue to say, it's the right work with the right people. And it's the community and everybody coming together, because they are our future. The children, I mean, this is where we're at. This is who we want. These children are going to be our leaders. And that's why we need to continue to support them.
Yeah. I know we would all want those numbers to be at 100%. That's the Florida Chamber's 2030 goal, is to have all the students reading on grade level. But the reality is you start where you start. Yes. And the fact that we're making progress over these first couple of years, I think is tremendous. It's a yeoman's effort among so many people. And we're so proud here at the Chamber to have the partnership with organizations like VCS and like the Early Learning Coalition. So thank you both, not only for your partnership, but for what you do in our communities in this effort. It's greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you for partnering with us.
Yes, thank you. The partnership is great, and we look forward to what's going to come in the future.
Very good. Well, if you want to learn more about Readers to Leaders, you feel free. It's on our website, DaytonaChamber.com. Under our divisions and centers of influence and workforce and innovation, you'll find it there. We'll be posting some stuff here, not only in this episode, but in social media. You'll see some stuff beginning to roll out as well on that. There is no one who can't participate. You're welcome to volunteer in whichever way. We'd be glad to have you as part of that. For the Crest of the Wave, we hope that if you're really enjoying this kind of content about the work that we're doing here at the Daytona Regional Chamber, that you will subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts, so that you get notifications and updates when new content is published, and share it when you see a promo on social media, or if you happen to come across a great episode. I ask you to share it on your social media. Help spread the word a little bit, so we can get even more people in the community aware and involved in great efforts like Readers to Leaders. If you're interested in connecting your business to this program, we've got sponsorship opportunities, and I'd be glad to talk with you about that. And beyond that, it's been a great two-part episode, our first one doing this, but it's a program we're really passionate about here at the Chamber and can definitely see the impact it's having in our community. So with that, we'll sign off, and we'll see you next time. So long, everybody. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts. For more information on our business community, visit our website at DaytonaChamber.com. Until next time, be ready to catch the next Crest of the Wave.